It's the most exclusive poker event of the year.
What started as a field of 64 players is down to 4.
In a single elimination.
Heads up bracket style tournament.
Last man standing. Last man standing.
Makes history.
Makes history.
Makes history.
Winner walks away.
Winner walks away with $750,000.
Welcome to Caesars Palace for the semifinals of the National Heads Up Poker Championship presented by GoDaddy.com. Every year, big names find their way to the late stages of this event. 2011 is no different. 2 main event champions, a poker legend, and a kid who almost wasn't a part of the 64-player field. At table 1, a high-stakes cash game player, Andrew Robl. He takes on 8-time bracelet winner, Erik Seidel. Coming into this match, everybody's been talking about how hot Erik has been. What has he been doing so well, you think?
Well, if anyone knew that, he probably wouldn't be doing so well, but he's been unbeatable this year, and hopefully I can find a solution.
Erik, you're the elder statesman here. Do you feel like you're carrying the torch for that generation?
No, I'm really up against it. Andrew is really one of the toughest players in the world. Among the young guys, he's one of the real elite. Very aggressive, It's going to be a difficult match.
All right, good luck, guys. And at the feature table, a dream matchup for poker fans. 2003 main event champ Chris Moneymaker and the reigning main event champ Jonathan Duhamel. Jonathan, in July of 2003, you were 15 years old. What has Chris done for your poker game?
I mean, Chris is the one who started all of it. He has been on TV and stuff. I mean, it's every kid's dream to do what he did. So I'm pretty happy to having the chance to play against him. So it should be a lot of fun.
Chris, you got to see him play last year at the World Series. Do you think that's going to help you tonight?
We'll see how the match goes. I mean, he makes me feel old already saying he was 15. Yeah, it's pretty good.
What's the best piece of advice that you could give Jonathan for being a poker ambassador?
I think he's done a great job. I don't think he needs any advice. I mean, from everything I've seen, he's, said the right things, done the right things. He's been a great ambassador for the sport, and, I think he's going to continue to do so.
All right, it's going to be fun to watch you guys. Good luck. Let's get the cards in the air.
Craig Hummer alongside Ali Najad as we welcome you back. Semifinal action from the poker room at Caesars Palace, Las Vegas.
Oh, hold on 1 second. I'll just come get him.
Gotta have the shades.
Almost locked him out of the room. I couldn't get in the room to get him. So I guess I'm playing without him.
5-3 for Jonathan. Min raise.
Raise it to 8,000.
Suited connectors for Chris.
He brought the special edition lenses today.
He calls.
Notice Duhamel setting the trend early here, even though he just had 3-5 off suits, still raising on the button.
Jonathan makes 5s. Moneymaker checks. And Duhamel bets 8,000. Chris the first to fold.
Advantage Jonathan in the early going.
In our other semifinal, last year's runner-up Erik Seidel on the right, taking on the last player added to the tournament field, Andrew Robl. He stares at Queen 9.
I think we should disperse the prize money as players go. That way Seidel could have funded a more comfortable seat for himself. Look at him lurched into that thing.
You got to go custom. With 8-5, Erik calls.
I'm not sure I've really ever played with you.
I was wondering the same thing.
Yeah, I think maybe we played very briefly in a tournament one time.
Robl pairs his queen to make kings and queens. Erik checks. Andrew bets 16,000. Erik folds.
He'll spot Andrew the early lead.
Won the first hand in every match so far.
And the last one.
And the last one.
That's a good record.
Let's take a look at the semifinal format. Starting stacks are 400,000. Lines begin at 2,000 and 4,000. The game, of course, no limit Texas Hold'em. 4 players now remain as we begin the semifinals. We began with 64 of the world's elite poker players. With 4 left, Ali, what should we look for?
Look for fits for Jonathan Duhamel and Andrew Robl. They've got a couple of crafty guys across the felt from them.
It's tough. It's like there's a bunch of new players, you know, even from 2 years ago playing in the biggest games online. Just every year, everyone gets better and tougher.
You know, that's unbelievably competitive there.
Seidel was 6'4", limps in.
He's used to new kids on the block. He's been around for a long time and seen them come and go.
Anybody who can survive that has got my respect.
With ace-4, Andrew checks. Robl pairs his ace. He checks.
Giving Seidel a little rope, and Erik takes it.
Erik bets 4,000. Andrew raises to 12,000.
That should spell the end for Erik, but instead it looks like he's going to keep Andrew honest by calling and finding out if Andrew's going to fire the second barrel.
Deuce, Seidel drawing dead. Andrew bets 27,000.
That's enough to mean business. It would take a real big number for Erik to try to move him off.
That big enough for you? Seidel raises to 70,000.
I told you he was crafty. This is what people don't know about Erik Seidel. On the outside, he seems like such an ABC fundamental player, but he's got moves.
Call from Robl.
This is not going to be good for Erik if he three barrels and Andrew calls.
9 of spades. Now we'll find out if Seidel will shut down.
Checks.
Robl checks. Erik bets 125,000.
What do you have, Erik? Ace deuce, king deuce, bluff. Be a pretty crazy bluff.
That's exactly what makes it so hard to believe that's what Andrew's up against.
Robl decides to call the crazy bluff and gets a huge pot in the process.
He took option C for 125 grand and won the jackpot.
Not an easy call.
Well, very good.
And just like that, Robl about a 3.5 to 1 chip lead. We return to the feature table where Chris Moneymaker has a slight lead over Jonathan Duhamel. Jonathan with 9-5 suited. Min raise.
8,000.
Ace queen for Chris. He re-raises to 22,000.
Bit of a dilemma for Duhamel. You don't want to fold and let your opponent think that they can 3-bet you off of hands, but you hate calling an extra 14 with 9-5 suited.
Broadway draw for Moneymaker. Flush and straight draws for Duhamel. Chris checks.
No continuation bet from Moneymaker. He's not a fan of the board texture. As you see, Duhamel is actually the favorite here.
23,000.
Jonathan bets 23,000. Chris calls.
This pot quickly up to 90,000.
6 of clubs, no help to either player.
Check.
Chris checks.
Duhamel faced with the decision. A follow-up second barrel's got to be sizable.
And indeed it is, 53,000. Moneymaker calls.
His ace-queen is the best hand and is now the favorite to win the pot.
10 pairs the board. Moneymaker's ace high the difference. They both knuckle the end. Moneymaker takes the pot.
Well, Duhamel certainly feels like he missed a bet on the river, but how could he have known Chris wasn't going to call him down? Advantage Moneymaker.
Thanks, son.
This is one of the biggest tournaments of the year.
This is probably the most fun event there is.
It's such a tough field.
Oh boy, winning the title would be amazing.
The tournament began with 64 of the most recognizable faces in the game today. And through each successive round, One half of those names were whittled away by the unforgiving process known as single elimination. As the field has grown narrower, advancing has become an even more daunting challenge. From the round of 16 through the quarterfinals to the moment we've arrived at now, where 4 players remain in the field: Jonathan Duhamel, Chris Moneymaker, Andrew Robl, and Erik Seidel, all carrying hopes for the 2011 National Heads Up Poker Championship.
Plenty of talented, disappointed players on the rail.
Chris Moneymaker up over 100,000 in chips. Our GoDaddy.com pocket cam shows his ace queen. Moneymaker with a min raise. Duhamel with ace tray. Calls.
Ace high board would be zesty.
All club flop. Neither player with one. Moneymaker's ace queen still leads. Check, check. Duhamel picks up a gut shot. He bets 8,000. Chris calls.
Moneymaker not just ready to go away with the ace-queen.
Jonathan pairs his tray to move in front.
Both players check the end, and Moneymaker's obviously going to be a touch disgusted at losing that pot, but he's taking it in stride.
Okay, limits are up to 3 and 6,000.
At this stage of the tournament, the 4 remaining players have won 4 straight matches, Ali. Just 2 wins separate them from one of poker's most coveted titles. At our feature table, 2 main event champions from poker's new era, Jonathan Duhamel and Chris Moneymaker. Duhamel had some trouble with Olivier Bousquet in the round of 8, but now that he's gotten past the heads-up specialist, is he the favorite to win the event?
He's definitely the favorite to make me look bad, considering he just ousted my pick to make it to the finals. And if Duhamel can beat Olivier Bousquet, I think he can beat just about anybody left in this field. I love the way Chris Moneymaker has played to this point, but that big pot poker approach is not something I think is going to work against Jonathan Duhamel. The kid is too patient, and I like him through.
The 2 other semifinalists are Andrew Robl and Erik Seidel. In this event, and just about everywhere else, it seems, no one has been able to stop Seidel. Today, that task falls to Robl. Does the kid have what it takes?
He's got a good chip lead right now, but Erik Seidel has no panic in him. Ice water running through the veins of Erik. I think he's one double up away from evening this thing before making his 2nd straight finals appearance. You heard it here.
Andrew Robl up over 2.5 to 1.
Doesn't really add up too much in comparison. But yes, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take the deal any day.
9-7 for Andrew. Min raise. King 6 for Erik. He calls. Robl with the gut shot. Seidel with the Broadway draw. Check, check.
King high, the best hand right now.
Turn pairs the board. Seidel's king high still good. Check, check again. Robl makes aces and 7s on the river to move ahead. Erik checks. Andrew bets 8,000.
This could look like a bluff. Seidel's going to look him up. Wants to make sure Robl's not stealing any of these pots. And Robl's stack continues to grow. My prediction is not looking good.
Chris Moneymaker and Jonathan Duhamel both can lay claim to the same coveted title, champion at the World Series of Poker's main event.
There's something special about winning that tournament. I think the players that won it know how hard it is. I remember when I won, and Greg and Joe and everybody, we sort of started forming a bond, and as world champions continue to be added on, we sort of bring them in the family. It's definitely fraternity.
What sort of hazing do you think they have, Ali?
Come on, this one's easy. You got polish my bracelet, shuffle in my home game, standard.
Restack my hundreds.
There you go.
Blinds now at 3 and 6,000. Chris sees ace 5 and raises to 13,000. Jonathan with 8 trays suited.
Not a hand he's obligated to play.
He re-raises to 38,000.
Duhamel would rather just take the money right here, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Moneymaker's 4-bet raises it to 80.